everybody. Warm welcome to Amazing You podcasts and YouTube channels, the channels where stories of resilience, triumph, and unwavering hope come to life. And in each episode, we dive into the inspiring journey of individuals who have faced the toughest challenges heads on and emerged victorious. Our aim is to be a beacon of inspiration, offering a guiding light to those navigating through difficult times. And whether you are dealing with health challenges, professional setbacks, or personal struggles, this channel is dedicated to uplifting your spirit and showing you that even in the darkest moments, there is a path to hope and triumph. So join us as we share powerful stories that transcend adversity, reminding you that resilience is a force within us all. So be prepared, everybody, to be inspired and to find the strength to navigate life challenges. And this is the Amazing You channel where hope takes center stage. And I would like to say a big thank you to my audience who are always watching, sharing, listening, and subscribing. I am your host. My name is Dr. Rani. I am a clinical hypnotherapist using rapid transformational therapy method, Mars Venus life and relationship coach, breathwork coach, astrologer, tarot reader, past life regression practitioner, chakra practitioner, and life force compassion practitioner. And today, I have the great pleasure to introduce you to my very special guest. Her name is Meli De Los Santos. She's also known as the Dream Yogi, and she is a dream interpreter. She helps sleep-deprived and stressed individuals reduce anxiety at a subconscious level by unlocking the hidden message in their dreams. And Meli has contributed to numerous online communities where she provides support and holistic education for those on a wellness journey, empowering them to become their own dream interpreters. Very warm welcome, Meli, to Amazing You.
Thank you so much for having me here.
It's a great pleasure to have you because I've known you a few years since at the beginning of the pandemic, where you were my examiner for some courses I was doing. And now I am really, really happy to have you on the podcast to share your story. And from that day that I talked to you, I say, wow, I was so inspired by your own journey because you have an engineering background, you have a bachelor in electrical engineering, and your specialty is computer, and you are a dream yogi. So tell us more about that, Meli, please. How did that journey from engineering then transform to becoming a dream yogi?
Yeah, well, that's a great place to start. I mean, I've always been a computer nerd, love technology, and that was what I was doing. I didn't realize how stressful certain things can pile on when you're not taking care of yourself. And while I was working already 6 years as a government contractor in a software engineering team, I started noticing that I was having a lot of panic attacks. And I didn't know, I didn't have a self-care practice. I didn't know the things that I know now of how to nurture myself and how to really check in with my needs. So it got so bad that it became agoraphobia, which means the fear of leaving my home. Mm-hmm. And during that search, I found yoga, I found dream interpretation, crystal healing, like everything was just to help me offload those feelings, like just understand what's happening with me. If it's mental, I should be able to power through it. I should be able to overcome this. And that's where my passion came. It was only meant to be for me, but as soon as I saw how my dreams were showing it was reflecting back the inner work that I was doing, the therapy work, and changing as well. I was like, I can't just keep this to myself. There must be other people that might feel alone like I did for over a year. And that's when I'm like, okay, I'm just going to start sharing this as a hobby little by little. And I just found that this was my passion. And so that's why I left engineering to pursue my business and share the message with other people.
Wow, that is really, really wonderful. And now you are full time in your business. Is that correct?
I am, although I do help by freelance, I help other online holistic businesses do their tech setup because I found in my years of collaborating with other people in other communities that the tech side scares other yoga instructors and other holistic practitioners. And I can bring in that nerdy computer side of me in to help other people so that they can share their message as well.
Wow. Oh, that is great. So later you'll tell us a bit more about that and all the things that you do. Thank you. And can you tell us how do dreams reflect our subconscious mind and overall well-being? Because we all dream. And how does those dreams reflect our subconscious mind and our well-being, Meli?
Yeah, with dreams, they are showing you it's kind of showing you the images that represent what you're going through. It's showing you your state of mind, your needs, desires. And the way that I like to see it is when we're walking around in our day-to-day life, working, interacting with people, having relationships, sometimes something may activate an emotion or a feeling or a story. And oftentimes we kind of downplay that, like, well, he didn't mean to say that, or I'm just being emotional, or we kind of brush off what we're really feeling and then it just piles on. Or like in my case, I wasn't picking up subtle signs that I was feeling anxious, but my dreams were showing it. I was having nightmares and trouble sleeping and like chasing dreams and all sorts of things that are like common, but still unique to the individual, because the subconscious mind, it only knows how to express it through the images that we see in our dreams. So by interpreting your dream and really becoming aware of that, you can see what the issue is at a root cause and what the stories are that you're telling yourself that's creating this rumination of thinking either the anxiety or if it's depression or whatever the emotion is. You can get to it at a root level by understanding your dreams. So that's like the first thing. I find it's the ultimate form of self-care to create that connection and understand your own subconscious language, because you're the only one that knows you better than anyone else. And every night you're having these messages trying to nudge you, especially if you're having reoccurring dreams. So, dreams that keep repeating or the same themes, it's literally your subconscious kind of like, hey, we really need to address this because it's affecting you and we want to protect you. So that's, by noticing that, we can't really work on what we're not aware of. If you just kind of go on autopilot like I was for so many years, it skyrockets and can explode into a more critical condition. And so that's the way that I see dreams connecting with the well-being.
Yeah, because we spend half of our life sleeping in dreams. So dreams are important, we can't disregard them. They are, like you said, always trying to tell us something, like if they are recurring. And what would you say, Meli? Because it has happened to me that sometimes I get the dreams would tell me also not only my state of my well-being, but it will also tell me information about what's going to happen in the future. So what would you say about that?
That's interesting because there are different types of dreams. So one of the first things I teach about is understanding what type of dream you're having. I mostly work with subconscious dreams, the ones that are representing something else in your life. But the one you're referring to is those prophetic dreams. So there are some people that will have a dream and then in a symbolic way, either literal or more symbolic, it happens. So there are two sides to it. Sometimes it's either your subconscious picked up on something and it's really deep down at a subconscious level where it's like, okay, I'm noticing a couple of patterns. This is probably what's going to happen. And then it happens. But there are also some people that are just more gifted and have the third eye more activated. And I find that the more you work with dreams, the more you unlock these other areas where you can see what happens, especially if that's something that you have experienced for all your life, or you're starting to work more and manipulate more your dreams, which is something that I'm teaching others to do.
Thank you so much, Meli. That's so interesting because I know of people who have had prophetic dreams, and I have had it as well, and it does happen from time to time. So I'm really glad that you explained that, because dreams are so important, and understanding them, it's helping us to understand ourselves and what's going on with our body and our mind. Yeah.
Exactly. And I do want to share something on that, because some things that I've heard people in the past come to me for, most people come to me for really scary dreams that they're afraid is going to happen in the future. Mm-hmm. So prophetic dreams are rare. If you're having a nightmare or something is happening to a loved one, it doesn't mean that it's going to happen. So I don't want people to be afraid of that. Yes. And that's why I think that the most important thing is to find your dream baseline, is what I call it. Know what a normal dream is for you. Do you usually dream in the third person, in the first person? Is it in color? Is it not? Become familiar with what a normal dream is for you. And when a dream like out of the blue happens, where it's like, okay, it's usually not like this, there's something different, there's a different feeling, then you could explore a little bit more what that type of dream is. But don't just rush into thinking, if it's never happened and you're having a nightmare now, don't just assume that that's going to happen.
That's true, because I have had people told me that they had a dream that they died, and they were scared now, they were walking around now scared of dying now. But it doesn't necessarily mean that, it, like you said, dreams have different interpretation. It might mean it is only symbolic. Yeah.
Exactly. And the reason why the dreams become that graphic is because it's trying to catch your attention. So that's why the pattern that I see when people come to me with those types of dreams, they might have had a lead up to it, but it wasn't until you had that really graphic dream, the dream of death or of losing somebody, that you're like, whoa, it really woke me up. And now I'm going to look for an answer. And that's really what the subconscious wants, for you to take action on it.
Yes. I think our subconscious mind is so powerful, It's like, even when we are asleep, the subconscious mind never sleeps. It works 24/7. So I think it's the most powerful computer on earth. It's us. Our mind is the most powerful computer, And we don't realize how powerful we are, because the things we can do, if we know how to use the power of our subconscious mind, we can manifest, we can live our most abundant life, we can have everything that we want, It's such a powerful software. Like, you are in engineering and you understand that.
I was thinking about that as soon as you said that. I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I've had a mentor before call me an inner engineer, which there's a book on that, which is interesting.
Yeah. And we are our whole body is super, super powerful. We don't realize. Mm-hmm. I think it's now a lot of people are becoming more aware and diving into themselves and understanding how powerful, when we tap into our inner treasures, how many treasures we've got inside. Yeah. So can you explain to us the process that you use, Meli, to unlock the hidden messages in dreams?
Yeah. So I call this the Rise Above Anxiety. It's a 3-step process. Okay. And the first step actually doesn't have to do with dreams. It's about reconnecting with your body. Specifically, what I work for is helping people with anxiety, like you mentioned before. And we can't do that but if we're still in our head. And still, dream interpretation does tie in with thinking and analyzing. So we need to step back, reconnect with our body, get grounded. I personally like yoga for this, but there are other ways to do it, being really in a mindful practice. And when you do that, not only do you interrupt the current anxiety loop that you're in. So if you're like just dwelling on something, by connecting to your body and getting grounded, that's going to help you bring you back into the present moment and create kind of like a short circuit. So that's the first step. And that's also going to help your dreams become more clear, because if you've ever been or noticed your dreams in an anxious state of mind, it's usually chaotic. You don't remember the details, but you wake up tired or more anxious. So it's going to help create more of a clear dream so that you can work with it. Then the next step is to reflect on the dream. And here's where we analyze the dream. We see what the root cause is and what the message is that's creating these anxieties, what the story is underneath it all. Mm-hmm. And from there, the last part is we respond to those messages. Here is like a double part, because we do want to respond to our current needs in our physical body. So if you're feeling like you need more nourishment or more rest, whatever that is, it'll become more clear. But also in our dreams, once we get that message, we're able to manipulate the dream and literally change the ending of it so that you rewrite the story that has been ruminating and creating that anxious loop. So that's like a really quick, brief overview of the 3-step process. And all of them, of course, have like elaborate things to work on individually to really connect with your own dreams and your own body and have that relationship. That, in a nutshell, is what it is.
That is super interesting, Meli. I think I need to get back to you at some point, because I would love to understand more about dreams. I learned a little bit, but not as much depth as what you are explaining, and it sounds so fascinating. Yeah, thank you. And my other question to you is, if you can share with us a success story where dream interpretation has significantly helped someone.
Yeah, well, I think I want to share more about my reoccurring dream, just, to not share other people's dreams.
Yeah.
But my specific one, when I was dealing with the panic attacks and anxiety, I noticed that I was having a very specific dream. This is the dream that got me looking into dreams, where I was in a home that wasn't my own. And there was so many boxes. I felt scared in there. I was afraid that like what would pop up from the boxes, and it didn't feel like my own. And in that, I was still doing therapy work in my own stuff. But when I interpreted the dream to represent that I was holding on to all sorts of baggage from the past and from other people, just holding on so much responsibility, the dream shifted. And the cool thing about this is it didn't just stop. It wasn't just like a, wow, you're cured or whatever. The next dream, I started problem solving in the dream. So I thought, I'm going to call maintenance in one of the dreams. And then the next dream, I'm like, I'm going to make a party out of this. Maybe there's something fun in the boxes, like they left a game board or something. And it started shifting gradually until the last dream. I was in a beautiful home and it was completely empty. It was like the house of my dreams. I only had my parents there and the landlord. And I noticed that the main entrance, the door was really thin, meaning I was going to be more selective with who I let in my personal life. And it was just a beautiful realization that in my internal home, I was clearing out the space and really creating that boundary that I didn't have before. So that was reflecting directly what I was doing in waking life by doing exposure therapy and journaling and my yoga practice and everything. So that is a story that, it's really near and dear to my heart, obviously, but I've noticed this with clients as well. They come with recurring dreams and it doesn't just stop. They get a couple of dreams afterwards that's gradually shifting it, where you can see how the mind is processing it and having that pleasure.
Yeah, that is super powerful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, because I have had those kind of dreams. I think recently as well, I saw myself in a big house, and it was empty. And then after a few weeks, and I was cleaning in the house or doing something, it's like in a new place. And I realized after a few weeks how many people I had to let go in my life. And it was a lot of people that I had to let go. It's not that I did it deliberately, but I realized that our journey has become, we have outgrown each other. It's like everybody has grown in their own ways and we need to let go. It's like it's okay, and not everybody will get on our bus because we are the driver and we have to keep on. And I'm grateful for those people that I have met, you know. I've learned something, and yeah, I think that's the power of the dreams. It's so powerful when we interpret it. And you know, I think since I met you, I kept a journal, and I've been writing my dreams when it's very striking dreams. When I get up and I have those striking dreams, I would write it in the morning. Yeah.
I love that. I love that you're doing that.
Yes, I think since I met you, I started doing that. Yes, yeah. So I only write the most striking dreams. Like, you know, sometimes you get up, the dream seems to have been so vivid as if you were in that, you were living it, and it wake you up in the morning. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And for everyone hearing, I would also suggest maybe starting a practice to write even the dreams that seem so random, that seem so meaningless, because what I like to do is every dream has its own interpretation. But then if you look at all your other dreams, it kind of tells a story and kind of puts the puzzle pieces of you. So, it would be a good practice to have. Something else that came to mind as we're talking is, people might be hearing and thinking like, well, not everybody dreams, because I know we mentioned that earlier. And we just don't remember. We have so much going on in our day, especially depending how you wake up. If you rush out to, get ready for work, or, you have kids or family to tend to, whatever it is, the mind is already going to know like, okay, well, we're going to reserve all of our energy to like, get ready, get up and go. So if you start reprogramming your mind, like what you're doing, writing in your dream journal in the morning, that's going to help retain that information. And it tells your brain, okay, this is important information that we need to retain. And the more you do that, the more dreams will become more clear and you'll remember. Of course, there's like, unless you have like a medical condition or you're on certain medications or drugs that could affect the dream recall. But for the most part, we're just not remembering. If this is the first time you're talking or even considering dreams, then maybe after this episode, see what dreams come up for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Meli. And what other practices do you incorporate or recommend for managing stress and anxiety, Meli?
Yeah, I mean, I have a whole toolkit of them.
Yes.
I really like essential oils because what I find that when I am in a peak state of anxiety, even with all the things that I do, your mind is going a million miles an hour. And sometimes you can't just like, think your way out of overthinking, or meditating sometimes induces more anxiety if you're in a peak, at least for me. So I like having essential oils. There's specific ones that are grounding, that like end in fir, or the ones that are more woodsy for me help. I would recommend if you're new to oils, testing them out first, because when you're in a peak state of anxiety, all of your senses get heightened. So some oils that I like when I'm calm are repelling to me when I'm anxious. So just become familiar with it, or starting with something soft. I find mint oils can help because it's not super overpowering and it kind of helps you stay alert, but also helps with the physical sensations. And that would be another thing. Everybody has different sensations when they're anxious. So notice what body sensations you have. I get a lot of stomach aches. So that's why peppermint or drinking ginger tea helps my stomach. So you want to address the physical sensation, because that's going to help not escalate it further. So those are a couple of suggestions as well. And, if you're into yoga or stretching or workout, like doing something that's going to get you in your body. I recently shared this as a emergency. If you're like really, really at a peak, if you change your body temperature, so placing ice on your body, like just real quick, that's going to kind of bring you back, just like an emergency situation. So those are a few tips.
I think that's very helpful, because sometimes people get some anxiety, get triggered on the spot for just in emergency cases, very simple thing that they can do. I think that's very helpful. Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And can you share with us some common misconceptions about dream interpretation that you would like to address, Meli?
Misconceptions. That's a good one. I think the one we talked about where the dream will just happen. Um, I think another one, I don't know if I would consider this a misconception, but a lot of people will just go to Google or go to a dream dictionary, and that's actually going to pull you further away from the interpretation. Because if you think about this, when you Google something or see something that's published, or even talking to me, right? Like, it's going to downplay your own interpretation because, oh, somebody like an author wrote it, so they must know more about the dream, as opposed to, no, you are your own expert. So in my sessions and in my classes, I teach people to like ask the right questions and get to their own interpretation. Other things, I guess in my Hispanic culture, and I don't know if it's just like a Hispanic thing, but there's specific dreams that, like, if teeth fall, it means that someone's going to die. And if it's painful, then it's close to you. Or there was like a lot of dreams like that where it was like omens in dreams or warning signs in dreams. And I think that's a big misconception that can pull you away from your interpretation, because everybody has different representation of what that dream means. It depends on your upbringing, your culture, your beliefs, and everything. So hearing it from somebody else will be biased to their own opinion. So you want to really connect to your own. And so I kind of like mix misconceptions with other things in there. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, I think it does answer my question, because we do have a lot of misconceptions about looking in books, So many people have done that. And we try to find the answers of our dreams by looking in other people's book. But our dreams, it's for us to interpret, because it's our story. It's trying to tell us something rather than looking at what somebody else has written. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's more important to learn the skills, which I try to share in a more concise way than just hearing somebody else's opinion.
Yes. I think that's really powerful too, for everybody to know that it's not by looking outside, it's by going deep within yourself to find the answers. It's so easy to go outside. I have done that myself, Meli. I just Google and see what does the meaning of this dream, home or something is, what does it mean? Yeah.
And if you think about it, they're so vague that it'll make sense. You'll read them like, okay, I can see that. And I've done tarot reading as well. And when I was learning about tarot reading, this is similar to dreams.
Yes.
I remember I was testing myself, pulling cards, and I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I got so excited that I understood it. And it's like it made sense with what I was going through in that point in time. But I got tempted to look at the guidebook, and I looked at it and it said something else and it still made sense. And I'm like, well, they're the experts. They should know. And it was like a disempowering thing as well. So, just stay away from it and create that connection yourself, because the dream is for you and for you only.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. And would you tell us, in challenging times, what personal mantra or philosophy do you rely on to stay resilient and focused?
Yeah, during those times, I remind myself that I am not my anxiety. I'm experiencing a feeling of anxiety and it's hinting at something. But yeah, creating that separation, and also knowing that I don't have to go through it alone. Like I've thought in the past, can reach out to somebody or follow accounts that kind of deal with the same things and can help empower you and pull you out of that. So just doing that, because for those who experience anxiety, something common that at least I feel is that sense of sadness and exhaustion from, your own thoughts and mental chatter. So just knowing that that's not you, and that it's actually showing a great strength as every time you overcome it, we're not in this constant state. Even a panic attack lasts about 10 to 15 minutes, which seems eternal while you're in it, but it does end and it doesn't define you.
Yes, I think that's so true. Yes, thank you. And what would you tell people today who are listening and watching, who are going through some really tough times? What easy steps or suggestions can you offer to them, practical suggestions to help them to navigate and eventually overcome adversity, Meli?
Yeah, I would encourage them to get curious about what's happening with them.
Mm,
In the sense of what are the thoughts that create the start of the anxiety loop? What are the body sensations? Because then that helps you address it. Like I found my own toolkit, but that won't work for everyone. Becoming curious about it and acknowledging in that moment. I even saying it out loud or in your mind, like I'm feeling anxious, my heart is racing, because a lot of things when we feel this way is that we think that there is this catastrophic event that's going to happen. Oh, my heart is racing, my stomach hurts, I'm going to pass out, I'm going to embarrass myself, I'm going to die. They're really
mm.
intense thoughts. So if we become curious of what we're feeling, even as hard as it is, but just like even putting your hand on your chest where you're feeling it and having that compassion for yourself,
Mm.
it'll help overcome that adversity, or at least become more, help you navigate that. And again, just reiterating that you can always ask for help. You're not alone in this. I've thought that I was the only one ever, feeling this and didn't want to share for a long time. But when I did, a lot of people, even close to me, also expressed that, yeah, I feel that too. And
Mm.
be united, even if our journeys or, direct experiences are different, we could be united in that. And that empowers us also.
Yeah, I think I really like that. To be curious with our body, and to be compassionate and kind to ourselves, because the more curious we are, it's giving the body the opportunity to express itself.
Mm-hmm.
And by being kind to it, the body will more easily respond to you than being if you are self-criticizing or if you are hard on yourself. So it's very, very important to be curious and compassionate in that process of attending to our needs. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure.
And Meli, I know you are such a well-read lady. You've studied, and I'm sure you have encountered many impactful books in your life. And can you highlight a few that have profoundly influenced you and briefly explain to us why?
Yeah, I mean, I just recently, earlier this year, finished Yoga Life with Brett Larkin, her new book. And I think this is great, especially for any type of yoga instructor or anybody who's curious at even starting to work with dreams. She breaks down her skills and how to bring yoga off the mat. It was a very easy read, creates your own like steps to start working with what she calls like soulmate postures. So it's a really good one. It's like a guidebook that you can keep with you. And I know I'm going to be reading it often. So that would be the first one. I always love The Alchemist is one I return to often. And every time I read it, a different message stands out as, you're reading his journey. And another one I read last year, I believe, was The Midnight Library. I heard a lot of people recommend it. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No,
But
it's the first time.
it's interesting. It starts off, a little sad, but overall, it talks about regret and being able to kind of see the different paths that you take, and it just had so many beautiful messages along the way.
Mm.
That yeah, I just found it really, and it captured my mind too, because it's like similar to the Akashic records with the library and stuff. So I read it in like a couple of days, and yeah, I like stories that are like fantasy like that, but tie in the spiritual meaning throughout the way. So it was really powerful, in my opinion.
Yes, I will definitely go and grab a copy of that book, because I've read The Alchemist, but this one that you are talking about, the last one, I haven't read it. No. And even the yoga one, not yet. Not yet.
It just came out too, so like maybe towards the end of last year. So yeah.
Right. Okay. So thank you so much for sharing all that. And my last question to you, because the time is flying and you definitely have to come and tell us more about the other things other modalities that you practice and that you help people. So can you please share with us your projects or initiatives that you are currently working on, Meli? And how can people stay updated or get in touch with your work, Meli?
Yes, of course. So my main program is Rise Above Anxiety, where we decipher dreams and decrease anxiety in 12 weeks. And it's a program where I break down the 3 steps that I shared and really help people use these skill sets to connect with their body and really reduce that anxiety at a subconscious level and working with the dreams, you know, to create that personal protocol for you. So that would be the main one. And I'm mostly on Instagram, the underscore dreaming underscore yogi, or if you just search Meli the Dreaming Yogi, I'm on different platforms, but my website will have all the information, thedreamingyogi.org. And I have free resources too, if you want to see what the top 5 dreams that come up when you're feeling anxiety and a little like sneak peek at how you could work with those dreams specifically. I have that on my site as well.
Wow, I think that's really very interesting because you talking about dreams, the first time I have a guest speaker talking about dreams. So I'm really, really happy to have you. It has opened my mind to so many things about dreams that I didn't know. So I am really looking forward to you coming again to telling us about all the crystals, the essential oils and other things, yoga and any other things that you do. I think you definitely have to come. You've got so much to share. And I would like to say big thank you, Meli, for your time today.
Thank you so much.
And big thank you to the audience for watching, for sharing, and for subscribing. And we'll see you all very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.